ratified. But
really?
as the discussions continue,
yeah,
if it is elevated to an agreement,
the Guantanamo 3, some people took the matter to court, and I think the Supreme Court held that whatever name you give it, when two countries come up with an arrangement, that places obligations on both of them. Whether you call it a treaty, a contract, it requires ratification. It was a majority decision. Only one person dissented. So I'm a bit surprised you're saying because an MOU, it means that it oughtn't have gone to Parliament. The judgment was very clear on the Guantanamo 3, that Article 75 was violated, which says international agreements must go through Parliament. And you are a 4th MP, so at least you could have gone to Parliament. And you have a massive majority. So what's the problem?
No, I agree with you. And that is why I said at the press conference I held a couple of days ago that when this is elevated beyond an MOU and it's a full agreement, we will go to Parliament under Article 75 and have it ratified. At this point, it is just a loose understanding.
The agreement is enforced. But how can you enforce? How can you enforce something you call a loose? That is already enforced. You've brought 14. You're bringing 40.
Look, I've inherited so many MOUs that didn't go to Parliament for ratification, and
But because of the precedent of the Gitmo 3, I felt like this was, and you know this. So is it an oversight? Are you going to apologize for it, or you don't think you made a mistake?
No, it's not an oversight because we sought the Attorney General's advice. It was discussed in Cabinet, and the Attorney General's advice and his counterpart, the Attorney General on the US side, also said that, look, this is an MOU, and MOUs do not require ratification. That is why...
The Attorney General is wrong because the judgment is clear. I can read it.
Oh, you know better law than the Attorney General?
At least. The law is there for all of us to read. Unless the English reading of what the Supreme Court said is different.
You see MOUs in that judgment?
The language of Article 75 is perfectly clear. The article forms part of the set of provisions governing the role of the executive arm of government in Ghana's international relations. I'm reading the judgment. Yeah. The scope of the article deals with treaties in general. The side notes and the body of the text makes reference to treaties, agreements, and conventions. It is also clear that the instruments referred to relate to Ghana's international relations with other countries or groups of countries, and the article requires that such instruments must be ratified by Parliament. The Constitution makes no mention of any formal distinctions that are dependent on the formality with which such an instrument is formatted or brought into being. Then it goes on to even list MOUs, etc. This is the judgment. This is a Sophia Kufu. I'm not the one saying it. So I don't know whether you're saying because the AG says, in fact, if the argument of the defendant in the state, the government, were to be taken seriously, that the transaction being by way of note verbal, executive agreement, memorandum of understanding, diplomatic note, or what have you, is merely an administrative one, then the question arises as to the exact status of the said persons now that they are in Ghana. Are they migrants? It's a long argument. It basically says, once two countries agree on something of that nature, Parliament must ratify. It's very clear.
We are working with the Attorney General's advice, and the Attorney General's advice is that when this is elevated to an agreement, it can be ratified. At this point, there's no need for ratification. So
that, and not to pick on you, you listed 15 things you said Akufo-Addo could do to fight Galamsey. I don't have time to read all. I can only see about 3 that this government has done. You listed 15 things. One of which was you said something about what the embassy in China should do, which is directly related to you. But let me read about 3 of them. Instruct the Attorney General and IGP to discontinue the harassment of anti-Galamsey protesters. Well, there's no protest, so that's not an issue. Sack all regional ministers who have failed to prevent Galamsey as chairs of their respective regional security councils. Sack all MMDCs who have failed to stop Galamsey as heads of their respective municipal assemblies. Reshuffle ministers responsible for lands and natural resources, environment, science and technology, etc., etc. Recall all police commanders and national security operatives. Impose a 5-year ban on all forms of small-scale mining. Deploy the armed forces to protect our river bodies. Immediately stop the issuance of new mining licenses. Carry out a shake-up in Ghana's embassy in China. Launch an aggressive scientific Green Ghana campaign. Provide free comprehensive medical screening and treatment for all Ghanaians affected by Galamsey. Hefty fines on small-scale mining companies. Roadmap, a lot of things. I'm not even sure 20% of this has been done by this government.
We are about 8-9 months in office.
Yeah.
I'm confident that these things will be done. Some of them are being done already. About 44 forests have been reclaimed. And look, let me be very honest with you, that on Galamsey, I believe that we can do better. And all of these propositions I made in the past, I still stand by them. Look, at the ministry, when given the opportunity, I hold here the KPIs. This is the first time in the history of our country that the foreign ministry has come up with KPIs for our ambassadors. All our high commissioners and ambassadors, our envoys, must meet these targets. And if you fall short, it's now in the appointment letters that the president signed. It is basis for you to be dismissed. I wish we replicate this in the regions and the districts and have Galamsey there, where if in 6 months you are not able to stop Galamsey, it means you are complicit. So these are positions I hold here. I still believe in them. Look, if we cannot be decisive, if we can't have conviction, if we cannot say that, look, there are some things that money, material gain should not get in the way. Politics should not get in the way. Then, then it's not worth being.
The issue of foreigners in Galamsey, this government has not been truthful to us. When Aisha Wan was deported without being prosecuted, you took issue with that. You wrote and criticized Osafo Maafo for this. This government seems to have the same policy. When Muntaka met the press, he said, when we catch foreigners in Galamsey, we will deport them. He didn't say they will prosecute them. He was very bold and told the media that when a foreigner is caught, we will deport you. That is a complete betrayal of the position you and other leading members of your party took in opposition.
So, once again, as a cabinet minister, I'm not aware that there's been a cabinet decision against prosecutions and that we should just deport. I think that at that point, the Honorable Muntaka was offering probably a personal, analysis of the situation, because as a cabinet minister, I do know that there's been no cabinet position on that matter. And my personal position on this is still consistent, that there should be prosecution. We have to treat everybody equally. You prosecute, they should serve time if they are found guilty, and then after which they can be deported. We shouldn't have an animal farm situation. We shouldn't have a situation where it's as though we are treating foreigners better than we treat our own people, especially when sometimes they are the ones who are the real, culprits who are bringing in all these chamfines. They are the ones who are the real, culprits who are bringing in all these chamfines and these excavators. So we talked about prosecution and deportation.
Yes, but your colleague did. Your colleague said we're just deporting. Interior Minister.
And I've said that it's not the cabinet position.
So did you raise it in the next cabinet meeting that Interior Minister, what you are saying risks being misconstrued as our position, because in opposition we said this is a wrong policy. Did you raise that in cabinet?
I do know that as we speak, the current Attorney General is prosecuting foreign nationals. I don't want to appear to be picking on, even though we know there's a suspect. Prosecutions are going on. And the president has said in cabinet that prosecute. Let's make an example of that.
Okay.
So I don't think
since
that
I don't
think that was a cabinet position.
And also, thank you, Tor. Thank you, Tor Kakapao. I said, look at your Balowa Mania. Hey, Chakwaya and also, hey, Chakwaya, Musha, Miniano Musha, Musha. Thank you, Tor Kakapao. Chakwaya and also. Thank you, Tor Kakapao. Also about lower money. Thank you, Tor Kakapao. Also about lower money. Chakwaya and also, Omudi Omukas. I said, look at you. Also about thank you, Tor. Thank you, Tor.